And we're going. Right. There we go. And we're going to go here. We are live. I'm just going to grab the video. For some reason, the video is gone. Where'd the video go? Okay, that's where it is. We're going to grab the video and then we will be right back with all of these incredible guests from Teatime. And we'll put the sound on. And we are back for the last Teatime of 2022. That is right. We are closing it up with the second reunion Teatime. And we are going to have some incredible guests that are really known each other. They are from the same group, a lot of them. So a lot of them come from Mickey, Creative Edge. So check out Mickey Mikkelson for Creative Edge. But we do also have some other guests that are here tonight, and they will be sharing what they do and all their incredible books and all that good stuff. And guests will be popping in and out throughout the night. So we're going to get excited. We're going to get some laughter. We're going to do some chilling and cheering and all of that good stuff. And Miss Liz's tongue, I need a cup of tea. So we're going to I'm going to start off with Jen Nash so she can liven the house up while I sip on some tea. So then she can share all the good stuff and all her good books, and we're going to get it rolling. So I'm just going to pin you up, girl, and then I will grab some tea.
Ooh, that sounds delicious. So when you say tee me up, I love that. What does that involve? What am I dishing on, Elizabeth?
All your goodies that you've done this year, like your books, all of the good stuff that you're doing, anything that you'd like the audience to know about you, Jen.
Oh, okay. So I wrote a book, which you can see in the background. It's called The Big Power of Tiny Connections, How Small Interactions Spark Awesome Outcomes. And so I guess one of the fun things was I won gold in the Business Communication Skills division of the Global Book Awards. Yep. So that was nice. Came very close to winning a cover award, but it turns out that it's more challenging than you think. I am very proud of the cover though. It's very bright and colorful, as you can see. Let's see what else. I was an Amazon bestseller, which is always fun to have that moment where you pop up and you realize that people are appreciating it. I've got around 100 reviews on Amazon, and so far we're at 5 stars, which is phenomenal, and I'm very happy that people appreciate it. It was featured in the Harvard bookstore at Harvard, right in their window, which is super fun. If you're curious, if you go to Real Jen Nash, you'll see on my Instagram story, I have a photo of it up in there. That was pretty fun. It's always nice to see your book in places or to see different people holding it up. And I think that was my favorite thing all year, hearing from people who read the book, or for instance, it's available on audio, and having people reach out and say, oh, wow, it's so great that it's available and I get to hear it in your voice. And they're really appreciative. I think that's one of the nicest things for an author, to know that their words are actually touching people, and having those people reach out above and beyond awards and best-selling notes. I think that kind of connection with your readers is the most powerful thing. It really moves me a great deal. I'm trying to think. It's been featured in a couple of magazines, and it's been featured in articles, and I think the nicest thing that happened out of the book was I had an interesting conversation with someone on a podcast, and the next thing you know, I was in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, doing a book signing and facilitating a retreat, because one of the things I do, so the book is really about how do we connect better with the world around us, and what happens when we connect better with the world around us. And it really depends on what we want more of out of our lives. Do you want a better job? You want to make more money? You want to be a better person? You want to get laid more? We got it all. The book really is, what do you want more out of life, and how can connections help you get that? And so it's really wonderful to see that applied in workshops, because I do, a workshop that runs a whole week, and it really talks about how do you connect and win? How do you go from selling to solving for the people you're talking to? How do you lean in and give them more? Because at the end of the day, I think when we do that and we show up really fully for the world around us, the world shows up fully for us. So, I think one of the nicest things is seeing the book in practice, having gone on a podcast, offering someone, an in-depth coaching session and a talk, because I'm also an ICF coach, and then having that lead to facilitation just organically, super fun. It's really the book in practice, which is always lovely. And I think people really appreciate about the book is you don't have to read it from front to back. It's really not that kind of a book. I have often called my attention span incredibly small. So I wrote it for people who, they want to get what they want to get. So if you just want to read chapter 6 on how to be, how tiny connections can make you a better person, and then go maybe to the 3rd section, which is all about the practical advice, book makes it easy. And so it's nice to see people just take what they need and get back with their lives, but hopefully with a little bit more spark in their step and a little more sense of appreciation for connection. Yeah. I'm just curious, has anyone had anything super random happen to them this year where it was somebody knew somebody and then it sparked something? Because those are the best stories, I think, and they can really help authors for sure. That was an all play question.
I think you put us on the spot. Now my mind just went, woo, no.
She's I want answers, guys.
I'm a big Pictionary fan. All play. It's a red card.
Well, I want to thank you, Jen, for sharing that with everybody. And we'll get everybody to answer that question that Jen asked when I put everybody onto the big screen. So keep that in mind. And we're going to just keep moving it along, getting the guest out there. getting your books out there and getting your stories out there for Christmas time. So it's Christmas time. We can still get those books from Amazon. You know, we can still surprise somebody with a beautiful gift. Jen, I really loved your book, and we connected because of the dots, and I'm big on the dots, connecting the dots and that for humanity. So, and Jen was also another one that you will not see her tea time on YouTube because she was on the radio show along with Doug Lawrence. So they were the two that were on my radio. So Jen, the door is open for you if you'd like to come on to a live video podcast session, and we can share your book in that as well. So, but I want to thank you, Jen, for coming. And we're not done. We're going to have a good evening. We're going to have some jokes. We're going to have some giveaways. We're going to have all of that good stuff. And we do have some questions that are coming in. So I'll throw those out as well, because there are a lot of people that are sending questions to me, and my phone is just blowing up right now. So we will get to that. So next, I'm going to jump into DC Gomez and get her to share all the goodies and all the incredible books that you can grab for Christmas time for your little kids and the big kids. Hey.
Hi, Miss Elizabeth. Thank you so much for having me. It's always such a blast, and I'm so excited to be here with this incredible crowd. Congratulations on having your second session. So, woohoo! So, everyone, it is I know it's a busy time of the year, so having everybody here is always exciting. So, I am a multi-genre kind of author, so I do a little bit of everything. So, what people are looking for, what can they expect? We talk a little bit of little ones. I have a children's collection. If you're looking for a little one that you can do and work together, I have Charlie, What's Your Talent? This is a great book to help, honestly, your babies figure out what they're good at. One of the things, I wrote this book because I have two little nephews. And my biggest thing is like, I don't want you to be 35 and going, what am I good at? That's my biggest thing. I was like, I need you to figure it out now. I don't want you to be going through life, finding yourself struggling, not understanding the talents. Doesn't have to be something you struggle, that you can be naturally talented, and then everything's a little different. So for anyone that has young kids, you can read them together, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, this is something for them. So for my little ones, and because I write in different levels, anybody who enjoys urban fantasy, I am a huge urban fantasy kind of girl. I usually recommend, thank you, Miss JP, you understand. So I recommend my Intern Diaries. It is book one of the Intern Diary series is Des Intern. It takes place in Texas. For anybody who is in the States, I am in East Texas. It is based on the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And honestly, it's going to give you a wild ride, dark humor, full of invention, bunch of quirky characters, and as much madness as you can stick into one series. So this one has 5 books, 3 novellas, and a whole bunch of little spin-offs. So, and I'm going to give you a little secret that I haven't announced to anybody because I'm still trying to get it out and about. I know. So this is kind of one of those things. I've actually did a thing. For every writer here understands, like, hey, I did a thing, and you're going, that actually just happened. So I have been working and haven't told anybody on an audiobook for the Cat Lady special, and it literally just got published and distributed. So it's in the process of going through all the different channels. It's on Spotify right now, Google Books, and all that fun stuff. So I literally got to listen to like the first couple chapters as I was doing Christmas cards today, and I was like, oh my God, this is actually real. This has actually happened. So anybody looking for fun, let me have some disclaimers. I write quirky with an attitude. So it does start in a dark place, and it gets you into a much more humorous adventures. She's a depressed cat lady turns arms dealer. So if you're looking for wild, yeah, it's super wild fiction all the way. There is no magic, unfortunately. The cats are not magical. They're just cats and evil. Sorry, that's just what cats do. But it is available, and I think I'm doing a special. So it's like $9 if you get it now. So as it's getting ready to be published and distributed, do a Google search for Cat Lady specials, and you can see all the crazy podcast places that is getting ready to the audiobook to come out. So do you have questions for me? Anything I can answer?
I lost you for a second. My hearing aids just cut off. So but no, I heard a little bit. So in DC, what book would you recommend for the kids for Christmas time to grab?
How old? That would be the first question. How old are we looking in terms of kids?
1 to 6.
I will say pick up Charlie. You either can do Charlie, What's Your Talent, or Charlie, Dare to Dream. You can pick either one of those books up. Is very good. And it's also something you can do with them. So a parent can definitely sit down. That has activity pages in the back. So that would be the ones I would recommend. Okay. Young adults, I would say pick up Des Intern in that range. Adults, I would say do Cat Lady. There is no kid that's going to be that excited to follow Cat Lady. Yes.
I have a question. You said turned arms dealer. How do you do research for something like that? I'm totally
So
kidding, but I find it amazing, your plot. So I'd love to learn more about that.
if you're looking for wild and quirky with an attitude, call me. I'm all yours. Here's the backstory behind this for everybody who's kind of curious. I went to a romance convention, and I'm notoriously known for writing urban fantasy. So the girl that writes about death, demons, and everything in between goes to a romance convention. And I thought, I need a romance book. How am I going to go to this place that does not have romance? So a 5-hour drive, this idea came out. I was like, this will make an amazing second chance story. This is great. I can pull this off. Kind of missed the whole purpose of romance. Like, she should end up with a guy. It should have a happy ending, and it should have So it's second chance of finding herself and finding her family, finding a tribe, kind of a guy, and then she sells arms. So, and I live in Texas. So I'm like, I can pull this off. Like, Walmart sells guns in Texas. I can kind of maybe. So that was my theory. I didn't say, it's true. So it is dark comedy, very much on the fiction side. So you have to go with an open mind. I have 70-year-old ladies, which is the silver hair gang, selling guns with Angela as well. So it's a little wild. So just kind of go with a disclaimer. That's all I can say.
I love
have a
it. I think that
question.
sounds like empowerment. Go ahead.
Oh, so much fun.
So my question is, like, how do you switch from the children's books to the adult books? Because they're so very different. Like, do you have to do one in the morning and one the next week? Or like, how do you separate them?
So it's the same way how I separate them on my table. Charlie's really far away from everybody else. So it looks like 2 authors hanging out together, not just me. I normally take big chunks of break in between one story of the other. So if I'm working on an urban fantasy, or especially with Angela, I'm not thinking of Charlie. So like, Charlie's like, your palate cleanse. Like, he's just going to be like, okay, what is fun and light and can give you a message and can be very, very, empowering. That's kind of Charlie. But if I'm writing anything adult, like, I'm doing research on like arms and like drugs and all that stuff, it's like, yes, not thinking Charlie at that point in time.
Well, I want to thank you, DC, and I'll bring you up, and we will start sharing some T's in a little bit. So get ready for your TEAs. I want to know what your TEAs are. I know they'll be different from the last time. Next, I'm going to bring up Dr. Brigida Tan from the United States, and she's going to share about her book and all of that incredible good stuff.
Thank you so much, Liz, and it's lovely meeting you for everyone here and everyone listening to this. So yeah, it's an honor. It's fun to be with you. The first time I think we met was like 3 years ago or something, and that was when 2020, right? Yes, 2020. That was when my first book, Seeking Peace. And talking about adult and children's, funny that the Seeking Peace is actually this the full title, Seeking Peace: How the Proven 5 Fingers Method to Thrive Through Change Effortlessly. In the most interesting way, after a multitude of delays, it came out right about 3 months after the pandemic started, talking about somebody out there watching and making things happen in an interesting way. So, but the Seeking Peace is definitely designed for adults to help us move through challenges and adversities. And the second one here, though, it's something that if you want to develop a good habit with your family and yourself, this is a gratitude book that's designed for adult and children. That's why the cover is teddy bears. And so it's a gratitude book designed for adult and children. And we know that gratitude helps children to have better grades in school as well as better social developments. And it's one of those that when you get the book, it actually shows that there's one page that you write your entry, and then the next page, it's actually say it's left blank for drawings and things, because kids like to draw and put pictures and things like that. And that's something, and this one book here in the US, at least here, it sells for $11.95, which is less than $12. It is for a whole year. So if you want to give like you know, some people has like 15 cousins and 40 nephew. This will be an economical way to go. It won't break your bank. And then a lot of people do this as a family things after dinner or before bedtime, actually, because it's just teach kid to be grateful. But that's one thing. Liz, you mentioned really brief. I am a grief specialist, and so one thing new this year is I started a grief talk. It's just like a grief chat where anybody having a tough time can call in for free. This is on Sunday night, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Los Angeles time, where I'm located. And because many of us who's been through grief knows how it seems to come haunts you in the evening. And so that's something that it's like, you know, the waking you up at night, making you can't go to sleep. So it's 8 to 9 every Sunday night. It's always, you'll always on my Facebook and webpage, things like that, where you can find informations if you are, or someone you know and care about going through tough times. That's something that I'm doing this year, is just a free grief chat, just to be there for people. So yeah, that's what I do.
Thank you so much. And like you said, you were with me in season 1. So that just goes to show you how many people have been on Tea Time. And I do have your book, because we had communicated and got the book. So again, grab a copy. Christmas time is a hard time. Grief goes on a lot during Christmas holidays. So and if you have any questions or comments or anything, please leave them in the box. We are streaming on multiple locations, so there is a lot of questions coming in from different locations. So we have some questions that will be coming up. I will bring them up for the authors that are here, because right now we have all authors that are here. There are other guests that are trying to get in, but they have some internet connections. They are coming in from different countries, so I am working on that to get them in. So we're going to keep moving it along and that. And Jen, I thank you for the question. I will keep you posted as soon as I get more information, but that's the number I have right now. So next we're going to move into JP. We're going to jump in and get you going for Christmas and get your book out there. And then we're going to take a little slip and we're going to spill some tea in a different way. And then we're going to get a couple other little guests in. We're going to get Jay Lynn and Doug in. And I'm going to try and get the other 3 people that are trying to get into to share. So let me get JP. There you are.
Hey, well, thank you, Miss Liz, for having me on again. So great to see everybody. Nice to see all these faces that I'm familiar with now. So thanks. I live on the west coast of Canada. We just had an enormous dump of snow, which we don't normally get. And in my corner of the world, we don't have a lot of plows. So into town was a massive problem for us today. But we went in and came out. That's why I was going to go on the earlier show, but I couldn't make it. In any case, Jen, one thing that you said that really resonated with me was readers and how readers react to your books. It means the world to me. It's what makes me keep doing this time and time again, because when you can provide some fun for somebody, or they read something and they're entertained by it and moved by it, that's just the bee's knees to me. And I suppose the other question you asked was the surprise serendipitous events that happen by being introduced. And I have to say that Mickey has been the one that's made most of the connections for me this year. And he got me a cover of Books and Buzz magazine, which I am just tickled to death about. I've gotten more comments about that and more questions about that than perhaps publicity I've done for a very long time. This last year has been really exciting for me because I put at the end of 2021, I put Bloodmark out, and it was very well received and won awards and got lots of recognition. And so when I put the follow-up out, which I put out Ghostmark in November, it too is now getting the attention. And one of the nice things I like about putting books out at this time of year is, for me, Christmas is a super, super busy time. And I love finding a quiet corner with a book and just getting lost in it. It's a little mini vacation for my head during such a very, very busy time. So if people are looking for that, these are urban fantasies. They're not extreme urban fantasies. They're very minor magic in them, very minor supernatural elements. They're set in current day Vancouver on the coast. And like I said, when you get a reader writing you to tell you that they enjoyed the book, they got lost in it, they missed their bus stop, they slept or they read it all night and couldn't wake up the next morning, those are the stories that make me say, this is why I do this. And I got to say, I think that for all those people out there that say they've got a book in them, one of the things that I've learned in writing is that there's no one wrong way or right way. There's no set way. There's no rule specifically that you have to follow. You have to find your own way to writing a book. And I think that it is quite possible that anyone who has the willpower and the staying power can actually do it, no matter how they start out. Maybe they start out just writing one scene and pantsing it, which is how I started my first series. And then you learn and you grow. And every single book you put out will be better than the book you put out last time. So I just really want to encourage people that have that in them. It is the most fun I've ever had. I never knew I was going to be a full-time writer when I started this gig, and it is the best gig I've ever had. So I would highly recommend that if anyone's out there wanting to write a book, that you try your hand at it. And that's me. I'm having my Bengal spice tea, and I didn't want it spilled, so I thought I'd mention that now, because apparently it's going to get spilled next.
Oh, the good old Bengal tea. I don't have Bengal tea tonight. I have lemon tea because of my throat, but I forgot about the Bengal tea. So now what we're going to do is a couple of guests, they're not able to make it because of internet connection. So they're asking me if I can put out some of their things for them. So we're going to do a little bit of that. We have Clara Baldwin, who was on Teatime in the first year, and she wrote a book. She's 26 years old, and she has an incredible, she's one of the leaders. Check her out. She has a program called Peace Over Pieces, and she helps domestic violence people and survivors out there. So she's in the United States, and she is not able to get in, but she wants to let everybody know, grab a copy, because during the holidays, domestic violence does increase. So please keep aware on that as well. Like I said, Christmas is not always a jolly old time. There are a lot of things that set people off and trigger and trauma and all that. So let's keep that in mind as well. Also, we have Kimberly Richardson in from the United States. She wrote a book on dementia with her mom's story. So she wants you to be aware of that as well. So she wants you to check that out and check out dementia and Alzheimer's and all of that. Check out those foundations at Christmas time, maybe give them a little donation, or even go to a nursing home or something and help somebody who's struggling right now. Also, we have Wendy Robinson. Her and her mother wrote books on domestic violence. So the story, Through My Eyes and Marriage of Deceit, this is the mother, this is the daughter's story, the mother's story, and this is the daughter's story. So check that out as well. They've been on CBC in Canada for their story, and some of their donations do go to battered shelters. So we really want to get that out there, and we want to keep it moving along and all that. So yes, I do have some of the books, some of the guests, and I'm receiving more and more. So I'd like to support all of my Teatime guests as well. So that is what I'm doing. So Christmas this year, if you've been paying attention on Miss Liz's Facebook page, you will see that my Christmas list and Christmas shopping list is for you to shop with my guests. So if they have a book, they have a program, they have a service, I want you to reach out to them. I want you to connect with them. Then we have some really incredible people who have sat down at Teatime, and that we have two incredible coaches and mentors in tonight's Teatime. We have Jen Nash and we have Doug Lawrence. So I want you to really check them out, check out their programs, and that I really want 2023 to be a new year for everyone. Let's start fresh, let's start different, and let's start spilling really good, strong tea. So we are going to start spilling some tea. So before we get into the other guests, and JP, I want to get into what is your tea tonight?
My tea. Well, I'm looking at the initials TEA, and I've come up with something that I think is going to be my mantra for the coming year. And this is with regard to my writing. My writing is going to be thoughtful, it's going to be entertaining, and it's going to be accepting. Those are the three things that come to mind.
And that's a good way to bring in the new year and all that. So I'm going to jump back in. I'm going to get Jen Nash in here and get her to spill her tea, because she's been on the radio, so she doesn't know how this works with the podcasting thing. So I'm going to get her up here and get her to share some tea. So with the letters TEA, what does she serve to the audience out there?
Okay, so you're gonna ask someone who's never done this to do something that she doesn't understand. I'm gonna say, Elizabeth, pass. You should go to someone else and let me watch how it's done, because I have no clue what you're doing.
Do you want to? I can go. I
Yeah,
can do
perfect.
Okay.
I nominate DC.
I can step in and let me help you out. So when we're looking at the T for the initials, for me, the T will be for teachable. The E will be for energize, and I'm looking authentic. And that's kind of the words that I look at, that I want to bring to the table and that I want to share with people this year, ending this year, and probably beginning. So definitely being teachable, being energized, and truly authentic. So what are those three words, those three initials you can think of that will be meaningful for you, Jen? That's kind of what we're looking at.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you had time to think about that. Now I understand. Okay. So the T that I would spell is, at the end of the day, I think the thing that really, like, when it comes to connection, and then, like, for me, the big power of tiny connections is it's stories. Stories unite us, they pull us together, they inspire us, and they give us a different perspective. So T would be for touching, because when our story really hits home, you feel touched in a way, you feel like it landed. But at the same time, I love a story when it, to Joanne's point, takes you away, you're not present. It's exciting. Like, there's really nothing better than like leaning into the excitement of your own imagination. And you know, A, that's a good one, because I'm riffing here. So let's see how I can do. It's funny, my mind just goes to the negative. I keep wanting to say appalling. But I'm gonna go with applause, because at the end of the day, I think we're all very hard on ourselves, and it's really interesting when I connect with someone who's sincerely impressed that I wrote a book. I think, you know, some of you, Joanne and DC, and I think Doug, and obviously, you know, Dr. Tan, I don't know about you, Lynn, but like, you've written many books, right? And it's so lovely when people acknowledge you and applaud you, even though you're kind of like, yeah, whatever, I wrote a book. But like, just the other day, I sat next to someone and they were literally like so excited that they were sitting next to a real live author. And I was like, this is charming. I will take the applause. But it's like, it's sometimes a little hard to receive. So I think for me, moving forward, it would be touching, exciting, and applaudable. How'd that go?
Awesome. I love it. It's a strong T. That is you, girl. Like, I love it. So I want to get everybody on here. Let me put everybody gallery. There we go. We got everybody. And I want to know what you guys are all doing for Christmas and how you want to see the new year come about, and make it fun. Do a wiggle, do a jiggle, spill some tea. Let's make a mess. So I'm going to start with you, DC.
I normally have very calm Christmases because I have extremely insane most of my year. So when I get to be Christmases, I go to the movies. I don't know if anybody has a Christmas tradition, but I tend to take myself to the movie theaters and pick something that I normally be as random as you can find and just kind of chill. So Christmas to me is a way to reflect on the fact that A, it's been an amazing year just because we're alive, and truly be able just to have that moment of solitude. So while everybody does really big families, Christmas Eve, I have dinner with a family, whoever's near me. So we do celebrate that way. So a good meal, but Christmas Day is very, very low key and is very focused on just kind of thankful, re-energizing, and just kind of chilling. So mine is very, very low key.
I think a movie is good. I've never even
That's
thought
awesome.
of doing a movie. I think a movie is pretty cool.
Mhm.
So next on my screen is Doug.
Okay, whereabouts do you want me to pick up the sort of the storyline here? So
Well, right
You
now
want-
we're gonna do your Christmas and then we'll get all your goodies and all that after. We got you and Lynn left and we're hoping to get 2 more in the room. They're still trying. So what do you do for Christmas, Doug? And how are you seeing the new year for yourself?
So I typically, my Christmas is scheduled by my 2 children who's, Dad, you're going here for this particular time for this meal, and then you have to fill 4 hours and then you go here for the next. So I'm just going along for the ride, so to speak. And I think to kind of fill in the gap, I lost my wife in 2021 to cancer. So there's that void that we've got to try and balance out and figure out how we're going to not lose some of the traditions that she had put into place. We want to keep those alive as much as we like. One that we have is on Christmas Eve. There's a small group of us. We come together and we do the Chinese gift exchange. We do opening the gift with the oven mitts, and so you got to roll the dice and you got to get doubles, and then you try and unwrap this gift with oven mitts and stuff. And the grandkids are running around the table just screaming and hollering, and they're trying to plug in wherever they can. So it's kind of low key, but it's not low key, at least certainly for that part. And it's with the Christmas Eve Christmas Eve, we used to do a martini night. So we would go through and whoever, we'd mix up martinis and stuff for whoever wanted to have one. And last year it kind of dwindled a little bit. So I'm hoping we can rekindle that and get that going this year. So, but yeah, that's kind of how I spend most of my Christmas. And the one thing that's different is that I'm finding that I have more people this time of the year than any time before that are reaching out and saying, I need somebody to talk to, somebody to listen and hear, not to tell me what to do or how to deal. Just, I met with a lady who is dealing with 1, 2, 3 deaths in the family. So she's going through this immense amount of grief. And I'm trying to set up times for her to be able to sit down with me, to be able to for me to listen and hear and get her to talk her way through a lot of the stuff. But it's tough because you're trying to balance Christmas and all that other stuff, and you don't want to take away from your own family as well. But at the same time, that's one of the big things that I always talk about, is that I'll never leave a person on the island by themselves. And I want to make sure I don't do that in this particular case. So do you want me to do my tea one now?
Sure. Since we have you on the table, let's do your tea. What do you got for me tonight?
So the tea is together. So it kind of coincides with my book. Here you are. You Are Not Alone. And then with that, it's to have the E is for energy, to have the energy to be able to be there for everybody as much as you possibly can, but also to be there for yourself. And the A is for the awareness to recognize when somebody wants help versus when somebody doesn't, they just want to be left alone, and you need to be able to figure out when that is. So that's my TEA.
Well, thank you so much. And that's what I mean. Each tea is different and we serve different, and our purposes in life are different. So what one might not understand one tea, another one will say, you know what, I get your tea, but it's the individuality and the differences that we all have as people, So I want to thank you, Doug, for sharing that. And thank you. The margaritas sound good because I'm a margarita girl. So I like margaritas. So Brigitte, what are you doing for Christmas and how are you celebrating with your family?
So for this Christmas, I somehow get my plate really full. So I'll be celebrating with my parents, most likely. Usually we do that for lunch anyway. And so that will be in the morning. But and actually before that, I'll be visiting a friend who lost someone not that long ago. So and then I'll be having lunch. And I here locally, if you are happen to be in the Westlake Village, California area, I ran a women group. And some of the women says that they're going to be alone on Christmas Day. So I will be doing a dinner. I'll be just having a girl time dinner for anyone who is alone and would appreciate being able to have the time and support because like some of us said, you know, it's everyone different. Some of us want to have it quiet time and some can benefit from the support and welcome the support at the time. And this has just come to me actually just right now. Since this is something that's announced, a lot of people, I'm a grief specialist and I do everything remotely. And a lot of people have been having a tough time this year, even more. So I'm going to, I'm going to provide scholarship for if you know someone who needed help with grief and not able to have tried things not working or just haven't been able to receive the help. I do grief classes and I'm going to provide 5 scholarship for anybody who needed help and not have the means to be able to receive the help. Just have them. The easiest way is it's not going to make it to the website. My website person on vacation. So the easiest way, if somebody need help, just email me dr10forgrief@gmail.com, and it will be I'll provide scholarship to people who there'll be 5 scholarship if someone need help with their grief from any cause of loss, whether it's loss of loved ones, loss of the furry family member, pet loss, or divorce, or any cause of loss, loss of job or some things. But that will be apparently I'll be doing that on Christmas too. Back to your question, Liz.
And what is your TEA tonight?
My T is for the first one. T is for thriving. One of the reasons I do this is I believe everybody deserves to thrive. And E is for evolve. For those of us who has been touched by grief know that grief changed us forever. But we can take it in whichever way we want and actually evolve from it, or we can go the other directions where it's the grief become us, so to say. And so the second, the E is for evolve, and then the A is to allow, and to allow yourself, first of all, to allow yourself to be yourself, not worrying about what everybody else says, and then to allow people, kind of the way Doc says earlier, to allow people to be them as well. When everybody is going through things, people change. Grief changes us. Sometimes we love people, the most socials, they want to be alone, and vice versa. And so to allow, so to when you allow yourself and you choose to evolve, regardless of what's coming on to you, you allow the correct support, you will be able to thrive.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Now I'm going to jump on to Jay Lynn and Doug. I'm going to finish up with you. Everyone else, I'm not sure what's going on, internet connections, but it is what it is. That's the way life works. That's the way Miss Liz works. If it doesn't happen, there's a reason for it. So I'm going to get Jay Lynn to Sharon, and Doug, I'm going to get you to close up the show, and we're going to just do some finishing thank yous to all the supporters and all of the good people that helped Miss Liz do this for 3 seasons. I have quite enough supporters out there that I really want to just give a special thank you to, especially Mikkelson. Check him out, Creative Edge, because he's the one who has most of the guests here tonight. So I want to thank Mickey for all of that incredible work. Plus he's working with Miss Liz again for 2023. So you'll be sure to check and see, there will be some returning guests that will be coming in 2023. But I'm going to jump into Jay Lynn and get a little of her Christmas and all of the goodies that she has in books and all that. So I'm going to give you the full floor right now.
Wow, no pressure. First, I do want to say thanks. Thanks for having me here. I'm so excited to be with all these amazing people. And I did also want to comment on the A for allow. I just want to say thanks for having that. I think that's a beautiful A, because I don't think we always allow ourselves enough forgiveness. I think we expect a lot of ourselves, and I think we need to allow ourselves. It's okay to fail every now and then. It's okay to not be perfect every now and then. And I think that was a beautiful A. So I just want to say thanks for throwing that out there. For Christmas, it's always kind of meant for me family. I have 2 kids. I have one who is going to be 20 in a couple months, and I have a 16-year-old daughter. So we picked up my son from college. He's home again. It feels like the full family's back again. You know, me and my husband and my 2 kids. I feel very blessed that we're all together. And I'm very also blessed that I'm near my parents. So we usually spend part of Christmas at our place, and then Christmas Day we go over and have lunch and exchange gifts. And unfortunately, due to the weather that we've been having and the extreme cold, my brother and his wife is not able to make it this year, so I'm a little sad. But I'm glad they're safe. I'm just not happy with Mother Nature at the moment. But so that's kind of our Christmas this year. Later in January, we get to have a little Christmas with my in-laws. So it's like Christmas just keeps going, all the funs. So for my tea, the T of tea is actually going to stand for tea, because drinking tea is just a big part of my personality. My website is teasippingnerdymom.com. So I love steeping tea, drinking tea. I make TikToks about tea. I just love tea. So tea is actually tea for me, because it's just a big part of who I am. I'm going to say the E, I guess I can't spell today. E is for empathic. I think with everything that's been going on in the world this past year, we need to have a lot of empathy for those out there who are struggling to find their identity, find acceptance, find the space to allow themselves moments that it's okay to, be yourself. And even if not everyone's going to be accepting, there are people out there who will. So I think going into 2023, I want to have a lot of empathy for others out there, what they're going through. I think the world to be a much kinder, forgiving place if we do. And I think a lot of people, everyone here understands me. You guys all got it down. So that's definitely what I want to go into 2023 with. And then A is just going to be for awesome, because I like practicing random acts of awesome. I like spreading joy when I can. So A is going to be random acts of awesome. So that's my Christmas and my tea.
There you go. And I think we need more awesome, right? We're so serious. We're so heavy on ourselves. And it's like Dr. Brigida said, we need to allow ourselves to have change, to be happy for ourselves and to celebrate ourselves, because we don't always celebrate ourselves, like we're like, oh, well, we wrote a book. Oh, but yeah, we wrote a book. That's exciting news. We're authors, we're best-selling authors, we're podcast hosts, we're creators, we're change makers, we're all of those incredible things. So we really need to keep the positive into 2023. Let's bring positive. We got enough negative in the world, let's bring the positive. So everyone that was on the afternoon show knows about this. This is where we're going next year. We're going with the TEA, the Teaching Education Awareness. This is what the T stands for. It ain't a beverage that I'm serving. I'm serving awareness. I'm serving stories. I'm serving foundations, organizations, all of those incredible things that need to be coming to the table, because we need to serve differently. We need to start educating differently. And this afternoon, we talked about education a lot. We need to really start educating in different ways and being okay with being different, because that's what Miss Liz does. I do different. I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay, because I don't want to be everyone's cup of tea. Because if I am, then I'm doing something wrong. So
That's great.
Kaylin, now I want to get into your books. What kind of books can we grab from you for Christmas?
Well, I am also one of those crazy multi-genre authors. First of all, I love stories about women. Let's be honest. I write what I love to read about. And one thing I love to read about is women from antiquity, particularly ancient Egypt. I mean, I love the really old school stuff. I always wondered what it would be like to be a woman back then. And in ancient Egypt, you would be surprised many of the different rights that women had versus many of the other cultures that weren't so great. I'm not even gonna talk about the evil empire, ancient Rome. Ancient Egypt, they had a lot of things going for women, and I really just wanted to explore. So I went to this King Tut exhibit, and I was fascinated by all of the art that was there about King Tut and his wife, Ankhesenamun. But nobody knows what happened to her. Like after her husband's death, when he was like, a teenager, she was also, very young. She disappears from the record. Nobody knows what happens to her. And I said, that's a story. I want to learn more. So that's kind of how my first book came out. It's about King Tut's wife. It's the Forgotten, Aten's last queen. Came out a long time ago. It's a thick book. So just, it's got a lot of flop. It's got a lot of thickness. And it's just a very interesting story about not only was she growing up back then, she had to run a country as a teenager, a very powerful country, but her father introduced monotheism. I mean, talk about groundbreaking when you're from a civilization that worships thousands of gods and they're like, nope, you get one. That's it. We're moving the capital. We're hitting reset. And then her and her husband, who was, I think 12 or 13, I'd have to double check, when they had to reestablish all of the religion again. It's fascinating. So that's kind of where my first book came about. The second book, I also wanted to learn a little more about establishing that capital, establishing that monotheism. So I actually wrote about their older sister. That's heir of the heretic. So this also is set kind of in that time of Akhenaten and King Tut and that just political upheaval and being a woman back then, because Pharaoh Ankhesenaten, Akhenaten, thank you. Pharaoh Akhenaten and his oldest is a girl. His son, King Tut, is so much younger. He wasn't sure, and it isn't with his primary wife. So he wasn't sure, so she was bred to kind of be the one who's going to take the reins. So this is an interesting story about her power, her struggles with that, and all the limitations with that. I was just so fascinated by these stories, and I hope to go back to ancient Egypt one day. But eventually things went a different direction. They went in a fantasy direction because I love reading fantasy. And so I finally eventually got out a trilogy about set in the land of Avalon. Hold on. It's called Descendants of Avalon. There you can see it. This is the first book. So it focuses on 4 friends from northern Minnesota, because I'm from Minnesota. And they make a wish in a wishing well. Little do they know that it upsets the balance of power in the land of Avalon. So an evil wizard wants to take their wishes, use the power behind their wishes to reforge the blade Excalibur. He wants to escape his bonds using this new blade and take over Earth. So they have to go to Avalon to not only get their wishes back, but also rescue one of their friends who's been kidnapped by this evil wizard. So that's the first book. The second book dives back into the world. I really wanted to explore the land of Avalon itself, get more adventure, because I really wanted to create stories about young girls who don't just fit one stereotype. They aren't just super smart, the squares. I mean, you see that a lot in middle grade YA fantasy, is that young girls can be very pigeonholed. I wanted them to be silly, make mistakes, tell a joke, So I continued my story with the second one, Lost Daughters of Avalon. This kind of goes more into some of the Arthurian lore, because I have some of the women from King Arthur's time who help them in their journeys. You also get to meet, you can kind of see it, you get to meet a little dragon, actually a big dragon. You get to meet a dragon. It's a big dragon. So we kind of get into more of that Arthurian legend, and then I wrap it up with Destiny of Avalon. Sorry, my ring light is so bright right now. Destiny of Avalon, I'm throwing everything in here. It's not just about Avalon. I also go to the Egyptian underworld for them to retrieve something. I have an evil genie who wants to set about going back in time and resetting something, basically destroying the world as we know it. Of course, we have our lovely dragon return. And I really wanted a story in which these four friends really come into their own. They really have to rely on each other. They discover they have some power, some magic in themselves. And I think that's a story that many young girls need to hear sometimes. You may not think you're exceptional, but you are so exceptional. You are one in a billion. How many people are on this planet? There's only one you. And that's a message I want to get across with these books, is that you are incredible. You may not know it yet, but trust yourself. You can do amazing things. So that was really one of the motivations behind my series, as well as adding in a little magic, a dragon or two, some Arthurian legend. And then I kind of wrap things up. I have to go sci-fi because I grew up watching Star Trek. I used to cosplay and go to the conventions. There's no way I'm not going to write a sci-fi story. So I have a little sci-fi novella. It's called Strangely Constructed Souls, and it's kind of about the concept of monsters. And the setting is a human zoo on an alien world. So that's what this is about. And like this one's very small, much easier read. This and my historical fiction are a bit more adult. And then, of course, my fantasy novel, I try and aim it towards like middle grade and YA, because I want to reach across. And I think it's very important that all ages know how incredible they are. So that is really the motivation behind some of my writing. I am excited for 2023. I got a children's book coming out. It is about a lovely little elephant girl who joins her first ballet class. And it's going to be so adorable, because you can probably imagine elephants aren't someone you'd typically picture as ballerinas, but I just wanted to project this beautiful body positivity and this love of dance. So hopefully it's coming out this first quarter in 2023. It's with my publisher. We're going to start working on it. I'm so excited to share it with you guys. I can't share it right now, but hopefully I'll get to share it pretty soon. So that's kind of what I've been doing. I'm sorry, I've been talking a while. How's it going, guys? What's up?
You're doing good, girl. And look at all those books, those incredible books that you can grab for Christmas time. You know, there's different age genres for all the books that have been shared tonight. So make sure that you go grab a book. Christmas time is a good time to read, have a nice hot cup of tea in front of the fireplace, you know, connect with people.
Beautiful cup of tea.
You know,
and what's great too is if you get my trilogy through inklingspublishing.com through their Square site, it's on sale. So you can get all three for $35. Typically it's $45. So grab it while you can, man. It's going to be fun. Anyway, yeah, I just had to throw that in. Sorry, back to you.
So I'm gonna bring up Doug so Doug can share all the incredible things that he shared this afternoon with his book as well, and all of the things that you can reach out to. Jen does need to skip out a little early, so I'm going to get Jen to just give final information where you can reach her, how you can connect with her, and what kind of services that she provides for 2023, because you can reach out to Jen and get all of that incredible good stuff. So let me get Jen in here. There you go, Jen.
Well, first of all, yay, Lynn. I love your enthusiasm. It sounds awesome. Who doesn't want a big, big, big dragon in their imagination and, you know, Arthurian history? And yes, go women's empowerment, all about it. Yeah. And I mean, I'm a coach and most of my clients are female and I love it. Like, it's really inspiring and supportive. So if you're curious about the big power of tiny connections, I do love to support local bookstores. So if there's a bookstore that you like, just ask them to order it in. Otherwise it's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, etc., on most of all major bookstores. The big power of tiny connections. And honestly, I think it's a great gift to, especially people who are like either coming out of college or they're in their late 20s, early 30s, and they're at that crux where they're trying to figure out what's going on, what's next, and how do they get more out of life. So it's a really great book for that. Additionally, you know, if you're looking to have a speaker come in, right now we're really struggling with disconnected offices. Everyone's like, I don't want to go in, but oh my God, it kind of sucks. Like we're in this sort of push-pull, disconnected cultural world. I do corporate speaking in person or virtually around how do you create a connected culture in a disconnected workplace, as well as doing really fun, different types of powerful connective workshops, as well as the masterful storytelling training, which really is, it's like a week long, and it's how that actually sounds completely overwhelming. It's really only 4 hours plus some one-on-one coaching for 25 people. So it's not a week long. I was like, oh gosh, that sounds terrifying. But it really does change your entire sales team's perspective on whether or not they are selling or solving for your clients. So if you are going into this downturn and you're wondering, how do you ratchet things up a notch? How do you connect better with your existing clients and your future clients? I got to tell you, it's storytelling. It really is. That's how we lean in. Numbers do not sell people. Data does not move the needle. It's really got to come from connection and heart all the time. So if you're looking for me, I am JENNASH.com, jennash.com. Super easy. Everything is there. And Elizabeth, I'm so grateful to you. Thank you. What a wonderful holiday spill. And I'm going to reiterate Lynn's word, totally A for awesome.
Right? We
Slash
need more
applaud.
awesome, right?
Back at ya.
Awesome. But thank you so much, Jen, for joining tonight and giving the updates on your book and all of that good stuff and your coaching. If anybody would like to reach out to any of these guests, please watch the replays, because the replays have a lot of information. They're in the descriptions, in the audio podcast stations. All of that information is in there, so you can reach all of these guests. All of that is in there. So once this show is done, we're done live. We're going podcast stations, and we're going all out there on 25 different locations. So check that out. And we will have a new year, new guests and all that. But before we wrap up the 2022, I want to bring in Doug, and I want Doug to give all the incredible information that he has, that he shared this afternoon. He's back. He's the only one that returned back, so he must have enjoyed himself. So let's get Doug up on the floor and get him to share all the incredible stuff he does. And can you hear me, Doug?
Yeah, I can hear you.
There you go.
So I'll give you a little background. So where do I want to start? So retired Royal Canadian Mounted Police officer. And that's where I get a lot of my lived experience. So when we talk about storytelling, that's where I can pull a lot of different things. So retired RCMP officer. I also went through and experienced post-traumatic stress myself. So that's another story unto itself. I wrote the book, You Are Not Alone, and it's about mentoring and mental health. And there's a lot of my personal life that's been poured into that book to be able to help demonstrate, how the trauma that I went through in law enforcement and how that coming out the other end was post-traumatic stress, and then the loss of my wife, and that's grief, and adding all of that, kind of adding all that stuff onto there. The book, You Are Not Alone, is also right there. Get my finger off of it. It's a Amazon #1 bestseller. So I was quite happy when that happened. It's also the recipient of the bronze award, the bronze medal with the Global Book Awards in the coaching and mentoring genre. So that was something. All of a sudden I get this email and I go like, what's going on? I hadn't expected that. And then just this past week, maybe week and a half, I was actually Mickey that sent the notice to me, but Perceptive X magazine has recognized me as one of the 10 most exceptional business leaders to watch in 2022. So that came out here in the last week or so. So I primarily, with what I offer, I do mentoring, all kinds of different types of mentoring all over the world. So I'm working with, young entrepreneurs that are part of Sir Richard Branson's program in the Caribbean. I'm doing some work with the American Corporate Partners, helping U.S. service people transition from military life to civilian life, and then all kinds of leadership mentoring and all kinds of other opportunities like that to be able to go through and do all of that. But at the end of the day, for me, the most important thing where I see I can give back and where 2023 is going to have a huge focus for me is helping others on their healing journey, on their path to healing. I've got another book that'll help demonstrate that is 85% done, and the book is entitled The Silent Pandemic, and it takes into account the high death rate of cancer and how mentoring can be part of that support structure for people going through and dealing with cancer and all of that. And once again, I've got the lived experience that I can share with others as well. So I do lots of podcasts. I'm a guest on a number of different podcasts, and I can hardly wait for the day that I can get back into speaking in person again, because that's where I find at least I do, I feed off of the energy of the audience, and that's just helps me that much more to be able to get the story out there. So as far as contacts are concerned, you can reach me, you can find me on my website at www.talentc, so the word talent, letter C on the end.ca. You can also reach out by email. It's doug.lawrence@talentc, so talent with the letter C on the end.ca. And I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me quite easily there. I spend a lot of time there. So, and that's about it.
Well, thank you so much, Doug, for sharing. And thank you for joining twice today. It really shows that you've enjoyed yourself, and that's what I want. I'm going to bring everybody up, and we're going to just do some final words. And then I want to do some really big thank yous out to a lot of incredible people who have supported Ms. Liz for 2020, 2021, and 2022, and who are still supporting in 2023. So I want to give those shouts out. But I want to give my guests the floor right now. What did you guys get from coming on Tea Time? And I'm going to let you guys put your hand up, which one wants to go first. Oh, we got JP. So JP, what did you get from Tea Time? Oh, I think you're muted.
I best learn how to use this program a little better. You would think I would know after being on it for so long. Oh, anyway, I think what I've gotten from it are, first off, a lot of really good suggestions for books that are both entertaining and inspiring and helpful in terms of dealing with grief and inspiration, and I love that. And I love that I'm able to meet so many different people online that I will see time and again. And now when I see Miss Liz, you post a recording of one of these fine people, and I know who they are, so I go in and I watch it, and I learn more every time I watch. So thank you very much. This has been fun.
Well, thank you again for all your support. Who's next? Oh, we got Jalen BDC.
No, I'm totally kidding. I think Doug, you touched upon those connections and being with people in person. I miss book conventions. I miss finding other authors, finding other influencers out there, and just talking about the things that we love. It's hard to find that audience now. And if I try and talk to my family about my books, they're like, again, really? You're going to talk more about ancient Egypt? I'm really sick of ancient Egypt. So I just want to say thank you for having these, because I just like connecting with everyone here. I love seeing what you guys are doing, because that is so exciting and it inspires me to do more. And I just love talking about all these great things with all of you. So thank you for anyone out there who's watching, for your time. Thank you. That's precious. And that's like a gift to me. All of you have been a gift to me today. So just thank you. And thank you, Miss Liz, for having this show. and for having us spill a little tea, because it's just fun.
Well, spilling tea is always fun, right? Especially when we make a good mess. So
Well,
I'm
as long
gonna,
as someone else cleans it, then it's fine.
right? We just spill it and then we're gonna, there's a mess in aisle 3, come and clean it. Like, so I'm gonna jump into DC. What did you get from Tea Time?
I love coming to your show. You have so much energy and you bring such an amazing outlook to different things that sometimes I think we take for granted because we're all so busy. I love the fact that we're all creative and yet we approach a process in our books in such a different way. So this is an opportunity to see the creative process, to see creators making an amazing product that's very different than what I'm probably doing. So that's always a blessing. And like Lynn said, it's just awesome to be able to share, to be able to connect, and to be able to, like JP said, to see each other and to be able to say, you know, hey, we're all one family, just scatter around the world.
Well, thank you. Brigida, what did you get from Tea Time?
So a couple things, Liz. The first is each time we connect, I got to get to know you even more, which is always an honor and a delight because you're so full of wisdom and magnificent personality. It's just so much fun to connect. And then also for this time to be able to connect with others here, to be able to get to know you all. And just, it's always good to connect and appreciate everyone and all your creativity from the dragon to Charlie. It's just fun to learn about each other, right? Of everyone's creativity and everyone's brilliant.
Well, thank you so much. And Doug, what did you get from Tea Time?
You know, I'm going to take us back to my tea. And
I know.
and the idea about where I'm coming from with this is that you've created, God bless you for doing so, but you've created a place where we together can come and share our wisdom, our knowledge, and just have a good time overall. And you help instill energy in each of us to be able to tell our story and share our story with the rest of everybody, with the group that's together. And you're always aware of what we need to take away from this, and you make sure that our needs are being met as well as, you know, the listening community. So for me, it's tea.
Well, thank you. And that's what it's all about, is tea. Oh, JP, you're muted again.
I just wanted to, you know, Doug, as you were saying that, it occurred to me that if you put an M on the end of T, you get team. And that's what I feel like. I feel like we are becoming a team, which is fabulous. We all need each other in this world and in this business. So yay, team.
And I'm so glad, JP, that you brought that up, because everyone asks me, Miss Liz, who is your team? My team is my guest. That's who my team is. I don't have anybody else helping me with all of the other stuff, but my team is what makes the strong tea, because without my guests, I'm not a strong tea. I need all of you out there to understand that Miss Liz struggles as well. I suffer with mental health. I am a survivor of abuse. I have my story as well, but I don't want to live in that teapot. I want to live on the teapot. And I want all of the viewers and listeners out there and all of my guests understand that we can make a difference when we start serving on our stories and not in them. Because when we get in them, then we get all stale, we get all bitter, and we get angry, we get moody, and I got enough of that. I don't want to do any more of that. So I want to be on it. I want to be awesome. And I want to be inspiring and motivating and creative. And thank you, JP, for noticing that, because I always say tea and me makes my team. So thank you for saying that. And I want to thank all of you guys from the bottom of my heart for taking this time. Like Jalen said, the time is precious. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for taking the moment to share again. And thank you to all the listener and viewers out there. It only takes one person, not 1,000, but one to make a difference. And that one person is you. So look in the mirror, reflect on yourself, and serve your tea. Miss Liz serves me, Doug serves Doug, JP serves JP, Brigida serves Brigida, Jaylyn serves Jaylyn, and DC serves DC, because that's who we are, right? We reflect on who we are and from the cup within. So for everyone out there that wants to know more about Tea Time, again, this creative bag has been made by one of my big supporters, the Ruby Girl. So check the Ruby Girl out. She created this incredible bag for me. She gets it. That's the tea, teaching educational awareness. We're not serving the beverage here. And on the other side, she created Miss Liz, which I think is really incredible because Miss Liz has a pierce on her nose. I don't have any piercing, but maybe Christmas time I'll do that for myself. So we do also have some other guests that wanted to make it tonight and couldn't make it because of weather and internet and all that good technology stuff. So I'm going to just share a little bit of their books before we wrap up so that you can check them out. So we have Annette Chicopee, who does coloring books for mental health, and some of her proceeds go to CMHA, the Canadian Mental Health Society. So we want to really get these out. She has multiple books. So she has 4 books out there. She has a calendar coming out in the new year. She has all that good stuff. So you want to check that out. And some of the proceeds go to mental health. Then we have Larry Joel Johnson. His books are incredible. So we have some history here. So we have the shipwreck and we have the Coca-Cola Trail. So you want to check those out. They're really incredible. And the pictures are magnificent. Like this book I've read 6 times. Like I'm just like, I can't read. Like I'm a history junkie. I love history. And then we have Back on Your Feet from Nehav Lagu. And she was on from New Zealand, I believe. So her book is incredible. It just gives you some tools and tips and all that. So there are a lot of books, a lot of authors that are on Tea Time, but there are also a lot of creators and inventors. And I want people to understand that new foundations, new organizations are creativity. People are creating new because they want new, they want different. And that's what Miss Liz does, is different. So I want to thank all of the people out there who have supported me for 3 years. In 3 years, we've hit topics like empowerment, mental health awareness, education, wellness, mindset, peace ambassadors, youth awareness, children's books, blindness, deafness, clothing brands, children's foundations, organizations, protection services, abuse, children's and adult, gender equality, personal stories, overcoming disabilities, sexual trafficking awareness, sexual abuse, financing, consulting, grief, art, painting, musicians, scouting, actors, cards, purpose, fundraising, charities, homelessness services, bullying, racism, coaching, mentoring, autism, and so many more. That's how many topics we have hit on Tea Time in 3 years. And in 2023, we're going to be hitting a lot more. The topics are going to be heavy. There's going to be a lot of trigger warnings for 2023. I am giving that awareness out there right now. We are going to be hitting countries that need to be heard. We're going to be hitting countries like Ukraine, Russia, Afghanistan, and topics that need awareness. So that's my goal for 2023. In 3 years, I've had 175 guests. I've had over 40 countries come to this platform. And I want to thank all of those countries for believing in just a simple cup of tea, a tea of difference. So I want to thank all of those people. The supporters that I've had in 3 years, Mikkelson from Creative Edge, amazing man. Check that man out and check out his incredible authors and his team as well. I also have podcast guests that have supported me. I've had radio guests support me. I've had Ruby Girl support me. I'm trying to remember everybody here. I've had Patrick Whalens, who is working on Digital Minds and help bring awareness to the elderly on getting connected with the technology and all that, who has supported me big time. I have incredible supporters. If I've forgotten anybody, please do not take it to heart. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate each and every one of you guests. You are part of my family. You are part of Miss Liz's team. So thank you again, JP, for that, because I really think we do need a team of difference and a tea of difference. So I want to thank you all for joining me. And I want to thank all of the guests that tried to make it in and couldn't make it in. Technology, I'm not holding it against you. So I do know that you do care and that you're here and your stories are going to get heard. So all I'm asking from everyone, how they can help Miss Liz so we can get this mission out there, is subscribe to the YouTube channel, share the YouTube channel, share the podcast, share your tea times, use them, create shorts, create clips, create reels, do all that good stuff. Any highlights, any bloopers, when Miss Liz can't say a name right, we got bloopers. You know, let's really make it fun. Let's really get creative with tea time. And let's really start supporting one another. Like I said this afternoon, support for support really does make a difference. So when we support, we grow all together. It's not Miss Liz growing on her own, it's Miss Liz growing with her team. So again, JP, thank you for that word team, because I love that word. I'm a team player. I don't do this alone. I might do a lot alone, but I don't do this alone. So I want to thank everyone, and thank you for tuning in for the second reunion of Tea Time. Make sure to check out the first one. The first one is already up on the podcast station, so check that out. This one will be up in about an hour, and we'll get everybody sharing all of these incredible tea times and connect, network, collaborate, because that's how it's going to make a difference. So again, thank you all, and I will wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's, and I hope to see some of you in 2023. Stay connected for updates, because Miss Liz loves giving updates as well. So again, thank you all, and thank you to all the viewers and listeners. Thank you for all the questions. The questions were mainly about the same thing as what Miss Liz was already talking about, so there was no need to just carry on with that. It was, where can they get the books? How can they get the books? What are the books about? And you guys have all answered all of those questions when you were sharing. So I want to thank you all. I want to thank you, Jen Nash, as well. I don't want to forget her. She left a little early, but I want to thank Jen for joining me on Tea Time as well. And again, check out all of these guests. There is 175. So if one tea doesn't resonate with you, I guarantee you one will. So have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, and I will see everybody in 2023. Tomorrow I launch 2023. So watch out for those guests, because you'll be surprised who's coming.